405 landing with 12. Check
Canada and the United States have defended North American skies together for generations. From the Cold War to the post-9/11 era, their air forces have operated as partners rather than rivals. Yet today, one aircraft has quietly exposed a growing difference in how both countries see their future security. That aircraft is the F-35 Lightning II. For the United States, the F-35 is already a settled decision. It is the centerpiece of American air power, designed not just to fly and fight, but to connect every part of the modern battlefield. The aircraft gathers data from its sensors, shares it with ships, satellites, ground forces, and other aircraft, and turns information into dominance. In U.S. military thinking, future wars will be won by whoever controls information first, and the F-35 sits at the heart of that vision. Canada looks at the same aircraft through a very different lens. The Royal Canadian Air Force is not built for global power projection. Its mission is narrower but no less critical: defending Canadian airspace, protecting Arctic sovereignty, and meeting commitments under NORAD and NATO. Canada's existing CF-18 Hornets are aging rapidly. Keeping them flying is becoming harder and more expensive each year. Replacement is unavoidable. On paper, the F-35 appears to solve that problem. It is advanced, interoperable with U.S. forces, and already used by many NATO allies. Canada has agreed to purchase 88 F-35A aircraft, a decision that would shape its air force for decades. But unlike in Washington, the choice in Ottawa has never been comfortable. Cost is the first fault line. The advertised price of an F-35 tells only part of the story. The aircraft requires specialized infrastructure, secure digital systems, upgraded bases, and long-term sustainment commitments. Over a service life measured in decades, these expenses add up. For a country with a limited defense budget, the financial weight of the program is hard to ignore. Unlike the United States, Canada cannot spread costs across thousands of aircraft or absorb overruns without trade-offs. Every dollar directed toward the F-35 is a dollar not available for ships, Arctic surveillance, personnel retention, or cyber defense. Critics warn that Canada risks owning a highly advanced aircraft but struggling to operate it at full readiness. Beyond costs lies a deeper concern: control. The F-35 is not a traditional fighter jet. Its most important systems are digital, software-driven, and tightly protected. Updates, diagnostics, and mission systems are managed through U.S.-controlled networks. This ensures security and alliance compatibility, but it also means Canada does not have full independence over its own fleet. In practical terms, Canada cannot freely modify the aircraft's software or integrate new capabilities without American approval. Spare parts and maintenance data flow through centralized systems overseen by the United States. For Washington, this arrangement guarantees cohesion across allied forces. For Ottawa, it raises quiet questions about sovereignty. These concerns rarely appear in public speeches, but they are discussed behind closed doors. Canadians' defense planners understand that today's allies may not always share the same political priorities tomorrow. Trade disputes, diplomatic tensions, and shifts in U.S. leadership have already shown how quickly relationships can become transactional. The shadow of NORAD makes the decision even more complex. Canada and the United States share responsibility for defending the continent's airspace. This partnership depends on seamless integration. The F-35 fits naturally into American systems, making it the safest choice for joint operations. Choosing an alternative aircraft could complicate coordination, even if that alternative performs well in Canadian conditions. The pressure is subtle but real. The structure of the alliance itself limits Canada's freedom to diverge too far from U.S. choices. Interoperability becomes not just a technical requirement, but a political one. Public opinion reflects this tension. Many Canadians accept that a modern fighter is necessary, yet remain uneasy about the scale and rigidity of the commitment. Some question whether Canada is buying an aircraft designed for wars it is unlikely to fight, while others argue that anything less than the F-35 risks falling behind allies. Military professionals are similarly divided. Some see the F-35 as the only credible option in an increasingly contested world. Others worry about long-term affordability and the strain on personnel and infrastructure. What makes the situation unique is that Canada is not rejecting the F-35 outright. It is moving forward cautiously, funding initial purchases while leaving room for future reassessment. This approach reflects uncertainty rather than indecision. The United States, by contrast, has already crossed the point of no return. Its doctrine, budgets, and global strategy are built around the F-35. For Washington, the aircraft represents confidence in technological superiority. For Ottawa, it represents a calculated risk. The same jet, two allied nations, and one shared sky, yet profoundly different perspectives on what air power should mean in the decades ahead. As Canada moves closer to the moment when its first F-35s will arrive on Canadian soil, the debate is no longer theoretical. It is becoming real, practical, and irreversible. Hangars are being redesigned, pilots are being selected for conversion training, and supply chains are being aligned with American systems. Quietly, step by step, the decision is locking itself into place. Yet uncertainty has not disappeared. Inside defense circles, there is growing awareness that the F-35 will reshape not only how Canada flies, but how it plans, pays, and prioritizes security. The aircraft demands a level of digital integration that Canada has never managed before. Data security standards must match U.S. requirements. Maintenance schedules must align with global logistics networks. Even routine operations will depend on access to systems beyond Canada's borders. Supporters argue that this is simply the price of modern warfare. Air combat is no longer about isolated aircraft patrolling alone. It is about shared data, fused sensors, and instant coordination. In that environment, the F-35 offers Canada relevance. It ensures Canadian pilots can operate seamlessly alongside American and NATO forces, rather than being sidelined by outdated technology. Critics counter that relevance should not come at the cost of resilience. They point to the Arctic, where distances are vast, infrastructure is thin, and weather punishes complex systems. They question whether a jet designed primarily for high-intensity conflict against peer rivals is the best fit for daily sovereignty patrols over the North. They also worry that maintenance demands could ground aircraft more often than expected, reducing actual availability despite impressive specifications. Another concern is people. Canada already faces a shortage of trained pilots and technicians. The F-35 does not reduce that burden, it increases it. Training pipelines are long, expensive, and highly specialized. Retaining skilled personnel in a competitive global market has become harder, not easier. A fleet that cannot be fully crewed risks becoming a symbol of ambition outpacing capacity. Politically, the timing is delicate. Defense spending is under scrutiny. Canadians are balancing concerns about affordability, healthcare, housing, and climate adaptation. Large military purchases inevitably draw attention, especially when cost projections continue to evolve. While no major political party openly advocates canceling the F-35 outright, the level of enthusiasm varies significantly. The United States watches closely. From Washington's perspective, Canada's participation in the F-35 program reinforces alliance unity. It simplifies joint operations, strengthens NORAD, and ensures North America presents a coherent defensive posture. American officials rarely comment publicly on Canada's internal debate, but the expectation is clear. Interoperability is non-negotiable. This expectation has become more pronounced as global tensions rise. Airspace incursions in the Arctic, increased military activity near North America, and the growing sophistication of long-range threats have pushed air defense back into strategic focus. In that context, the F-35 is seen by the U.S. as insurance against surprise and escalation. For Canada, however, insurance comes with premiums that last decades. Once the fleet is fully operational, Canada will be tied into a global sustainment ecosystem dominated by American priorities. That does not mean Canada loses its voice, but it does mean compromise becomes routine. Decisions about upgrades, timelines, and capabilities will often be collective rather than national. Some defense analysts describe this as the new reality of alliances in the digital age. Others see it as a quiet erosion of autonomy. Both views contain truth. What is undeniable is that the F-35 decision reflects a broader shift in how Canada approaches defense. The country is moving away from minimum compliance toward deeper integration. That shift brings advantages: access to advanced technology, shared intelligence, and operational credibility. It also brings dependency. History offers no simple answers. Canada has long relied on the United States for continental defense, yet has also worked to maintain an independent voice on the world stage. The F-35 sits directly at the intersection of those instincts. As the final contracts progress and timelines harden, the debate may fade from headlines, but its consequences will remain. The aircraft will fly for decades, governments will change, strategic environments will evolve. What will not change is the reality that Canada's Air Force has chosen a path that binds its future closely to that of its closest ally. Whether that choice proves wise will depend less on the aircraft itself and more on how Canada manages the relationship around it, balancing cooperation with caution, integration with independence, and capability with sustainability. In the end, the F-35 is not just a fighter jet. It is a statement about how Canada sees its place in an increasingly uncertain world.